Hello friends, today also we are going to deal with the UGC NET paper 1, people, development and environment. Okay, the subtopics are anthropogenic activities and their impact on environment, then the causes of anthropogenic activities, environment degradation and effects. Okay, without wasting time, I think we can start our class. We listen to the class. Okay, anthropogenic activities. What is meant by anthropogenic activities? An effect or object resulting from human activity. If human is doing some kind of activities that result in some kind of problem to others, this is what is known as anthropogenic activities. So the activities doing by the human beings and its bad result is happening to the surroundings. This is what we call as anthropogenic activities. Okay. So this term, okay, anthropogenic term, it is put forward by a Russian geologist and his name is Alexei Pavlov. Okay. Alexei Pavlov is a person, is a scientist. He is a geologist, okay, Russian geologist who put the name for the human activities on the environment that is known as anthropogenic is the term for that, okay. The term in English and this term is brought to English by, okay, he has put the name in a Russian, okay, and this term to English is put forward by Arthur Tansley, okay. He is an ecologist. Arthur Tansley is a person who put the name Russian from the Russian to the English is by Arthur Tansley. And human influence on climate, how the human activities is influencing the climate, how it is affecting the plants, how it is affecting the other people, that is other communities like the animals, plants, and the environment, all these, how all these things are affecting. This is what we have to see in the anthropogenic activities. So I think you are clear about what is anthropogenic activity. Okay, it's the activity of human beings on the environment. It can be on the climate or it can be on the plants or on the animals, in the flowers, whatever it is. How it is affecting the life of the other life and the environment. This is what we call as anthropogenic activities. And the term, it should you keep in mind the names of the people. That is Russian, it's put for name is given by Alexei Pavlov, and in English it is given by Arthur Tansley. Okay. Next is causes of anthropogenic activities. What are the reasons behind it? That is, first reason is overpopulation and consumption. That is, when the population increases, it's usually what happens is that the people have to live in different areas. What they have to do is that they have to cut down the trees and they have to make the buildings. So what they do, they encroach the forest areas, and what happens? The living beings in the forest, they lose their habitat and it affects the climatic situation. And next is the consumption. When the population increases, we know the utilization of the environmental resources is high, and consumption increases, and what the only bad effects is happening to the environment. Okay, there is no limitation come here. So that is one of the reason for the anthropogenic activities. Next is technology. We know that when technology increases, the people abandon, or what we have to say, that they neglect the environment, and what they do is that they make use of the environment for their purpose and they neglect the surrounding. That is another reason. Next is manufacturing products, and the wastage of the manufacturing products, that is also one of the reason. Next is agriculture. Agriculture. Why it's agriculture? Because we are using some kind of fertilizers. That is, it's not biological. Some other kind of chemical fertilizers using in agriculture is causing a lot of problem for the living beings, as well as for the land, for the climate, and for the pollution. All these things is happening there. Next is habitat destruction. Habitat destruction means when the anthropogenic activities is happening, it affected the all the kind of living beings as well as the surroundings. Next is ozone depletion. This you all know that there is what happens is that when ozone deplete, the ultraviolet rays will reach us and it causes a lot of diseases for the people and it burns us. Okay. So how it is happening? It is because of the uses of different kinds of gases by the human beings. So the human is the basic reason for the ozone depletion is happening. Next is land degradation. That we know that the landslides is happening and land pollution is happening. All this is because of the activities of the human beings. Next is mining. Mining is one of the other reason why the pollution is happening, and we know that hills are using a hill areas are what happening is that by the mining and all, we know that destruct that areas and it caused the earthquake and all. So such a things is happening in different areas, and it is affecting the land area mainly. Okay, then it is next is environmental degradation. Environmental, I told you a lot of time that that is the surrounding of the human beings, and for the other living beings all are depending on the environmental areas. Okay, so they are losing their habitat. Next is global warming. You know what has happened to global warming? That is CO2 is increasing and it causes the heat increases in our area, and it is the result of the different kinds of gadgets using by the human beings. Okay, and what happens is gadgets as well as the vehicles, and the pollution is happening, and as a result the CO2 is increasing and the global warming happens. So these are the reasons why the anthropogenic activities is happening in our area. So main reason is the population as well as the overconsumption is the main reason behind all these kind of anthropogenic activities. Okay. Next is environmental degradation effects. Okay, when the environment degrade, what all the things will happen? First one is mass extinction. Different kinds of species. We know that we heard about a lot of kind of species extended from our earth. So the mass extinction will happen when when what happened, the environmental degradation happens. We know that there is a food web is the food chain is the, so all these things will break out, and what happens is that some kind of species will die out, and what happens, they will be extinction of them will happen there. So that is known as mass extinction. And the next is the defaunation, that is loss of animals from ecology, that I told you already itself. Defauna means animals, fauna means animals. Okay, defaunation is means different kinds of animals lost from our surroundings. Okay, using of different kinds of that is chemical fertilizers, and using of different kinds of pollution is happening to the environment. So what happens is that animals which is living, they will die of this poison, and what happens, they become extinct from our earth. Okay. Next is decline in biodiversity. Bio means life. The life chains all will decline, and what happens is that the biological system will it lose its equilibrium. Next is global warming. What is I told you earlier itself, that is increase in the CO2. That is when we are using different kinds of gases, it will reach the atmosphere, and what happens is that the CO2 concept, the CO2 increases in our atmosphere, and what happens is the heat energy increases. This is what we call as global warming. Next is habitat destruction. What is habitat destruction? 87% is happening in oceans. That is what all the wastes in the factories, they are all moving towards the what they do, they are pouring it towards the rivers, and rivers carries it to the oceans. So that is, we know that the living beings in the oceans, what they do, they will consume it and they die out of it. So their destruction is happening to the ocean is 87%, and 77% is happening in the land area. We know that different kinds of waste materials, okay, it is dumping in our land area and is affecting the whole of the habitats of the all living beings. Next is all of the pH in oceans by CO2 in atmosphere. We know that pH in ocean is increasing. That is, acidic is increasing, and CO2 in atmosphere is also increasing. This is what is happening due to the environmental degradation. That is, ocean acidification is happening. That is, decrease of the pH in the ocean, but the CO2 is high in the atmosphere, and this is related always. And what happens is that ocean become acidified. Understood? That is, water water should be in base, but what happens is that it become acidified, and it will affect all the organism that is living in the ocean. Next is ozone depletion. What is meant by ozone depletion? I told you earlier itself, by different kinds of gases, what we are causing pollution to the atmosphere, and it affects the ozone layer, and ozone started to get depleted, and the ultraviolet rays will come directly to us, and it causes a lot of harm to the people, and different diseases will come to the people, and the heat will increases in our area. All this will happen in the earth. So that is another reason, another problem to us. Next is land degradation. That is, value biophysical environment is affected affected by human activity. That is, human beings is causing a lot of problem to the land area. And what happens is that the quality of the good quality of the land area will degrade, and it lose all its good content and it become waste area. Okay, that is what we call as land degradation. And I think now you have an idea about what I have taught you today. That is, what is anthropogenic activities, what are the main reasons behind the anthropogenic activities, and how the environmental degradation affect us. All these are the main points today we have to see. And usually in the question paper, this area they ask very less, but it is in the part of our syllabus, so we have to go through it. I think now you have get an idea about what is anthropogenic activities. So we can meet in the next class. Don't forget to subscribe the channel. It is free of cost. Okay. So we can meet in the next class. Goodbye, all of you.